Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today in a virtual webinar. We would love to be with you face to face, but due to the situation, we are remotely. As Nate mentioned, I am Dr. Yolanda Barbier Gibson, Vice President for Student Success. And in my role here at Shenandoah University is to make sure that your student is supported both inside and outside of the classroom. In my area, we offer lots of support services. And as a parent, if you're like me, and I'm sure a grandparent or a guardian, when your student is away from home, you want to make sure that they're cared for, they're safe, and they're supported. So today, you will have the opportunity to hear from lots of panelists at our institution to learn how that will take place once your student arrives here at Shenandoah. I would like to first, you've already met Amy, but I will introduce her again. Amy Sign is our Director for Student Success and Enrollment Management, and she will talk to you about next steps in enrolling your son, daughter, granddaughter, grandson into Shenandoah. And so I hope you enjoy the day, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Amy?
Thank you, Dr. Gibson, and thank you all again for participating today. We are so excited to have you here. We wish so badly we were in person with you guys. It really, like for me, I feed off of your energy, so I'm feeling all of your energy through the chat and your Q&A, so thank you so much again for being here. So again, my name is Amy Sign. I'm the Director of Student Success and Enrollment Management here at Shenandoah University. So first I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about what we do in the Office of Student Success. So me and my assistant, Nate, who you met earlier when you were logging in as well, we are here to support your students as they map their course to college success. So we do that through the various programs and initiatives to help your student, including new student orientation, which I'll get a little bit deeper into in a minute. First generation students, we celebrate them with a celebration and some programming for our first generation students. We provide academic coaching to students who may be struggling, Men United in Excellence, and many more programs. So we work with students from the first time they step on campus all the way through to graduation. And in fact, I strategically place myself by the stage at graduation so I can hug every single one of my students before they cross that stage, because for some students, it's an easy path. For some students, it's a little bit more of a struggle. And so we just want to help them through that whole process and help them cross that stage and then even beyond. So now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the next steps in the enrollment process and summer orientation. So you should have already received information regarding our steps to SU enrollment process. This can be found online at su.edu/steps2TOSU, or by visiting the admissions page on the SU website. You'll see the screenshot here on the presentation of what steps to SU looks like. So you're probably already familiar with this because I'm sure many of you have already registered for orientation. But if you have not done so, please register for one of our 3 freshman orientation sessions. I wanted to let everybody know that due to COVID-19, we have made the decision to cancel our original first orientation session that was originally scheduled for June 12th. We have replaced this session by adding a new date of June 30th. The website is updated with that new registration link, and currently the dates for our summer orientation are Monday, June 22nd, Friday, June 26th, and Tuesday, June 30th. So please be aware that we really are carefully following the advice of the CDC, and we will provide any information as soon as changes are made to the orientation dates or the program. And we are currently planning on having our orientations on campus, but we know that the situation keeps changing every single day, and so we will keep everybody updated if there are any changes made to the orientation program. So to give you just a brief overview of what to expect from summer orientation, each session is a 1-day session. It's designed to introduce you and your students to the people and the resources who will be helping you throughout your time here at SU. So at orientation, your student would receive their SU ID card, their class schedule. They'll get information to help them to prepare for college life. They'll also meet faculty and staff who are going to be the people working with them during their time here at SU. And it's also just a great opportunity for them to meet other new and returning students and to start building that community of friends, colleagues, mentors. So these are the people that are going to be their friends for the next 4 years and even beyond. And for parents at orientation, you will also be introduced to the same people and information that is going to help your student in their transition to college. It's really important that we give our parents the same information that we do the students, because if your student calls you, say they're having trouble with a class, you can say, oh, you can get free tutoring through learning resources. Here's who you need to contact. So we make sure that you have all of that information as well. At orientation, you'd also have the opportunity to meet with financial aid. So if you have questions or you need assistance, our financial aid representatives will be available then. And you'll also get to meet other new parents who are going to be on this journey with you. For some of you, maybe this is your first student in college. For some of you, maybe you've been through this rodeo before and you have some information you can share with others. So it's just great to build that network and that community that's going to help you during this time. So you can visit step 9 on the Steps to SU website to view a copy of last year's schedule. We will be following a similar schedule, but we're still kind of tweaking things for this year. So the final schedule for this year is not updated yet, but as soon as we get that finalized, we will update that. You can view that schedule online, and that will help give you a good idea as to how the day is going to go, what kind of information we're going to be presenting, and just give you a better understanding of orientation. I also want to let you know that orientation is not a mandatory event. However, it is highly recommended as it sets your student up for success prior to starting in the fall. We understand that with the current situation with COVID-19 that you and your student may not be able to attend orientation, and that is perfectly okay. If that is the case, please register for the I cannot attend summer orientation registration option, and that will prompt our team to make sure that your student receives the necessary information prior to starting at SU. So we'll make sure that everybody is set up and ready to go before they start in the fall. So besides registering for summer orientation, at this point in the process, you should follow the steps on the Steps to SU webpage. And with each step, there's information on what you need to complete for the enrollment process prior to arriving in August. Again, you can find that at su.edu/steps-to-SU. So that concludes my portion for today. Nate, do we have any questions?
1 second. Yes, we do have a few questions that just popped up. The first is, my daughter had noted her major as biology, but would now like to double major as biology and business marketing. How does this affect her first semester schedule?
So what we do is we have our academic advisors are the ones who create the class schedules for our freshmen ahead of time. So they take into consideration any classes coming into prior, and then also what they plan on studying. Really for the first semester, there's a lot of kind of gen ed classes. They don't really get into their major classes until they're a little bit further in their time here. So I don't think that would have very much of an effect, but we can get your student in touch with their admissions counselor or their academic advisor, and we can make sure that we get them set up to make sure that they know that they want to study both of those. So, and we definitely make tweaks to schedules and stuff like that. If students make changes to their major, their programs and stuff like that, we make sure that we take care of that for them.
Awesome, thank you, Amy. And the next question that we have is just how early do events start for orientation, just for out-of-towners, so that they can know?
So the orientation, the check-in starts at check-in starts at 8 a.m. and the program starts at 9 a.m. And so if people come from out of town, I would say I wouldn't be there any later than 8:30 because depending on how many students we have registered for that day, the check-in line does sometimes get a little bit long. So I would recommend not getting there any later than 8:30. And the program starts at 9. So for some out-of-towners, they decide to come in the night before. We do have many hotels in the area who offer discounted rates for Shenandoah University students. So if you do either stay, say, the night before or the night after, if you make a reservation with the hotel, just let them know that you're here to visit Shenandoah University, and we do offer discounted rates for the hotels right around campus.
Thank you, Amy. And another question was, can my daughter have a conversation with her academic advisor about her schedule before orientation?
So we do have information in the Steps to SU enrollment guide of the various colleges. And yes, they can reach out to the academic coordinators ahead of time and kind of have that conversation. And students can definitely make changes to their schedule during welcome week as well. So we call that the add drop period. So that's the first week of classes. If students want to make changes to their schedule at that point, they can definitely do that. But yes, they can absolutely reach out to their individual colleges. Again, that information is in the Steps to SU for each individual one, and they will be able to talk through some of that. So yes, absolutely.
Awesome, thank you, Amy. Give me 1 second while I see if there are any other questions that we. Lisa Hill-Corley asked if May 1st is still the decision deadline.
We have actually moved the date to June 1st, so you have until June 1st to make that decision. But of course, if you want to do it earlier, we'd be happy to help you with that as well. Okay,
The
so
next
I
question.
think we're going to move on to our next presenter. Of course, if you guys have more questions, we will have Q&A at the end as well that we can answer questions as well. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next presenter. So I'm happy to present to you Dr. Sue O'Driscoll, our Dean of Student Success.
Hi, good morning. I am so happy to be with you this morning and tell you a little bit about the resources that we have for your student success. We know that most students will encounter a challenge or a small hiccup when they're in college. This could be related to academics, this could be stress management, this could be a roommate disagreement, maybe reconsidering their major, or maybe even needing a little bit more time to find their friend group. This is where we partner with parents. We know that we're gonna together help students self-advocate for their needs, learn to be creative problem solvers, but also know where to turn for extra support. And really that's so important when you're at your home away from home. At Shenandoah, relationships are so important. So your student is going to make lots of really important relationships with their professors, with their work study supervisors, with their coaches and staff here at the university. Sometime your student's going to need your support with building those relationships, and also, maybe needing some support or advice on how to reach out to a resource. We are a community of care, so it's not uncommon for faculty and staff and for even peers to let us know when a student could benefit from some extra outreach or support. We have a care team on campus, and that's a multidisciplinary team that has representatives from public safety, counseling, wellness services, and also our student affairs offices and academics to provide coordinated care for our students. There are plenty of amazing wellness resources with minimal to no cost for students. That includes our counseling center, our health services office, exercise classes, using our fitness center, and even taking a walk on our Cool Spring campus and seeing the beautiful Shenandoah Valley. At Shenandoah, we know your student may be transitioning, experiencing a lot of firsts for the first time, learning how to pivot when things don't go as planned. And we want to make sure that your students have those support resources. This might be the first time that they're managing their own health and wellness, and we know that, and we're here to help. And so we want students to know that we have amazing student affairs staff professionals that are in their positions because they love supporting students and helping them find their resiliency when they need it. This might be in the classroom, on the athletic field, on the stage, and also in employment settings. Our students make connections in and out of the classrooms that help them pivot for their success. Even in my role as a conduct officer, when I'm talking to students about their decision making, we talk about how Shenandoah is a place where you can make mistakes, you can learn, you can grow, and you can be yourself. Learning takes place in all of these conversations, both in and out of the classroom. I look forward to potentially having the opportunity to work with your student, and please know that the Dean of Students Office always is a partner to parent. We're here for you as well. Nate, are there any questions that I can help answer at this time?
Yes, there is. One question from Lisa Sipp is, what is the best way for students to contact the wellness team?
Sure. So what's amazing is our wellness center, you have the option, you can email them, you can call them, you also can stop by our wellness center. It's right in the heart of campus. So it's in the middle of all of our first year residence halls. And so it's really easy to stop by and connect with them. We have a wonderful, friendly staff who's there for them.
Awesome, thank you. Another question is, who is equipped to help my daughter find the medical professionals she will need to connect with in order to manage her health care?
Sure. So my suggestion would be, if you have some individual questions about your student's health, we have our wellness center open here in the summer. It would be great for you to connect with them, and they can talk to you about local resources are available, and even talking with you about your insurance and different providers.
Awesome, thank you. I believe that is all of our questions.
All right, well, that is a great segue. I have the privilege of introducing our Executive Director of Wellness, Hanan Kalash.
Hi, Sue. Thank you so much. I'm really excited to be here with you guys today and share with you what we do here at the Wilkins Wellness Center and the Counseling Center. I also want to share that I'm not only the executive director, but I'm also a family nurse practitioner here. So I do see students for different health issues as well. One of your first experiences with the Wellness Center is when you are submitting your health forms. So I saw a question on the Q&A about the health forms and submitting health cards and the steps to SU. That information will be included there. You can go to the Wilkins Wellness Center website as well. And so at this time, I would advise you to get, if you can, get into your primary care provider, gather your physicals, gather all your immunizations, because that are things that you're going to need on your health form, as well as your health insurance. Shenandoah also does have an opportunity for students that do not have health insurance or are not covered to purchase health insurance through our program. So that's going to be one of the first things that you're going to experience at the Wellness Center is that you're going to have to put in your health forms. We do require it for all general admission students, and we keep a copy of it here. And this does you something when you graduate, as you move forward through these 4 years and you need to go to graduate school, your students can come to us and we have a release on our website and we can release to them their immunizations as well. So that's always a plus that I always tell students. You'll have your stuff here, and when you need it, we can get it to you. We're moving electronically as well, and so we're hoping by next year the students are able to input everything electronically. We know right now during COVID, it's challenging to send us your information by walking in because our appointments right now we have no walk-ins for acute illnesses, which we normally do. Our normal hours, not in the time of COVID, is 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And we also, during the semester, sometimes have evening hours if that's something that we see that the students are needing. And so along that, we do see students for wellness. I heard that some students are going to be doing different healthcare professional programs here. And so we do some screening for tuberculosis, some lab draws, if they need titers. And once again, none of the visits here have a copay, but we do charge for certain acute illnesses when people come in for the testing, such as flu testing. We have strep tests here, urinary tract infections. We do setups for different other wellness things as well. If they feel like they need some assistance with headaches and they need some ibuprofen, we do have some of that. So we encourage the students to come in. We also do encourage them to check in with their parents as well when they come in. We oftentimes don't notify parents that their student has been in to the Wellness Center, but you might see something on their student account. But we do encourage the student to reach out to their parent to let them know that they have been into the center. And we encourage you parents, when your student calls and says, I don't feel well, we would encourage you to tell them to come into the Wilkins Wellness Center. Next slide, please. And so here you'll see the telephone number, our email address if they want to set up an appointment. If we weren't during COVID-19, we would just have them walk in and they can be seen usually from 9 to 5. If the provider is not available, we make an appointment for a later time. Sometimes the provider has to go for a meeting or something like that. And so we do our best to see them when they walk in. Now, next slide. I also did see a question about the counseling center. So here, there's the Wilkins Wellness Center, which is where we see medical visits. And I heard a question earlier about if your child has a health condition or something like that, we encourage them to reach out to us. So one example would be if they're diabetic and you want them to get their blood sugar checks, they can come through here and we can check their blood sugar. We can help coordinate with medical management of any condition that they have and work with their home primary care provider if they need any testing or anything like that. One of the prime examples is we have a couple of students that have really bad allergies, and they started their allergy shots at home. They don't want to miss any of them, so they come in here and they get their allergy shots, and our nurse can monitor them. We also have students that need their certain injections, so they come in and we can give them their injections for them. One of the most common ones is depot birth control injections. So with regards to the counseling center, so we have 4 counselors, and we try not to have a wait list. We try to make sure that when you come in, usually come in through the Wellness Center. Our receptionist is Carlene, and she's based here at the Wellness Center in Racy Hall. The counseling center right now is at Cooley, which is a building right next door to us. And so they come through us, they set up an appointment. Carlene checks everybody's schedule to make sure that it works for your student and they don't miss any classes, and that it works for our counselors, and we try to do it within 24 to 48 hours. So some of the issues that our counselors try to help them with is being homesick, adjusting to the college life, working on their independence, stress and coping skills when they're in this new environment, new situation. This might be the first time that your child is living away from home, or managing their own schedule, work and school. And so they come in for a variety of issues related to stress and coping with being away from their home. And then, of course, we're very concerned about mental health with regards to all the COVID-19 and the stress that has put on our communities. I have a senior who's graduating from high school this year. She's missing a lot of things. She's missing her prom. She's missing graduation. And so there could be some issues that could come up for them, lack of closure before they come into this new environment. And so we're really going to work with them to try to help them if they're having any adjustment issues with that. And I think that's about all. I encourage you to go to our counseling website if you have any questions about any of our counselors. And sometimes, they'll come in and maybe they'll need more assistance than we can provide them. So we really do work with local providers as well as self-help groups in the area to try to get them situated. So the Wellness Center, I'm going to answer some of these questions live, if that's okay, Nate. I'm looking at them. So there is not a walk-in clinic. We do not have hours during the weekend, but we are right across the street from an urgent care, which is about 10 minutes away. The student can probably walk over to it if they don't have a car. It's Valley Health, and then we are about 10 minutes away from the nearest ER, the Winchester Medical Center, and we have a very good relationship with Valley Health. And so we can always refer students to other places to get testing, such as if I need to get an x-ray for a student, we don't have x-ray here on site, but we can send them to a local place that has x-ray, and we work with them to make sure that we get the results and we can follow up. Yes, there are certain vaccines that you need. And so one of the things that I've noticed is meningitis. If you haven't gotten your meningitis vaccine and your second one, because there's several meningitis vaccines, Trumemba is one that we also recommend, and we would like you to get it, especially if you're going to live on campus. And so I would work with your healthcare provider to look at the immunizations that you have and see which ones that you need. Most of the time, your tetanus is up to date, and usually most people won't need another tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis shot until they're 20 or 21. So you do have to look over your immunizations and make sure that you're up to date and that you have them. The university as a whole is addressing the COVID-19 and the potential health issues. We are not looking to open campus before the state of Virginia says that it is okay to do so. And we are looking at our disinfecting, masks, and how we're going to treat the common areas. So we are working hard to try to figure out what are we going to do to make sure, and we did this prior to also, Shenandoah was one of the first universities to send students home and not reopen back in March 6th before it was even declared an emergency here in Virginia, and that was taking into consideration the safety of our students and making sure that they all got safely home so that they could be with their families during this time rather than on campus. The athletic, if you're an athlete, the Wellness Center defers to the athletic. We have an amazing athletic, this is a great question. We have an amazing athletic training team here who really takes excellent care of the athletes. And so if it's any athlete related injury, musculoskeletal, or anything like that. But I see athletes all the time for strep, flu, and things like that. So we'll see them for those sorts of things. They have a great concussion protocol as well. And so we normally won't see them in here for a concussion that's related to their, and they have their own medical director as well if it's a concussion related to their sport. So it looks like I've answered all the questions. I thank you once again for being with us, and I look forward to seeing your students. And please, if you have any questions about not being able to submit your forms due to COVID-19, contact us. We are working with everyone to make sure that the materials that you need that we need for you to send to us are being completed, and that you're still allowed to enroll in your classes and everything like that. We're looking so forward to having you on campus. Now, I want to introduce Dr. Santiago. And I saw earlier that there is a lot of questions about housing and residence life. So Jay, go ahead.
Thank you, Hanan. Good morning. I'm Dr. Jay Santiago, the Director of Residence Life. And today I want to talk to you about a few things related to housing. First, the goal or mission of Residence Life is to encourage growth and development of all residential students. And we do this by promoting an atmosphere that fosters learning, safety, and belonging. And we do this through the work of our Residence Life team, which includes me, of course, and what we call area coordinators and resident assistants. Our area coordinators or ACs, as we call them, they're full-time professional staff people who live in and around our halls, and they have specific duties. However, their most important job is to interact with your student, to help challenge and support them, and to be a resource to your student. Our resident assistants are your students' peers. They live among your students. Your student will have the most interaction with this Residence Life team member. An RA is there to support and encourage and to help your student integrate into our campus community. Now listen, community living will be tough, but I can assure you it will be exciting as well. We want all our students to feel like they belong. However, we want them to learn what it means to live in a community that is diverse, and how to positively contribute to that community. Our RAs and ACs will assist in that critical learning and development. Our housing application currently is available to you and has been since March. We ask that you complete this application by June 1. Also, we ask that your student fill out this application. It's really important that your student accurately captures how they live. You know, things like if they're night owls, if they're morning people, how they like to study. The way they answer those types of questions in our application will dictate the roommate selection process. Further, right now, your student has the ability to select a roommate if they would like. If they know a person who they want to room with, they have the ability to go into our system currently to find that person and select them as their roommate. However, if your student does not know of a student who they would like to room with, our system is like, how I like to say, a matchmaker. And based on how your student answers the questions in our application, will dictate how they best match with someone. So it's really, really important that I reiterate to you all that it's important that your student fills out the application simply because of the roommate selection process. Lastly, if your student has a special need, for example, if your student has an accommodation or needs an accommodation for a medical purpose, please reach out to me directly. They can reach out to me at my email, jsantiago10@su.edu, and I will help them directly navigate that process of figuring out how to receive a special accommodation based off of a medical need. Again, I want to leave a lot of time because I know a lot of folks have questions about housing, so I want to leave some time to answer questions. But I want to say, again, congratulations and welcome to Shenandoah.
Thank you, Jay. So we do have a few questions for you. The first of which is from Jeffrey Sassani. My son received a roommate inquiry through the system, but did not get an email notification or text. Will we have to log in or?
Absolutely. So if he received a roommate inquiry, he should log in back into the system and go into his inbox, and he'll see the student who requested to live with him.
Awesome, thank you. And next is from Tara. Do you take into consideration their athletic team? Our daughter is playing softball at SU and is hoping to room with another incoming freshman softball player.
Great question. Typically what we see is coaches like to match their players together. And so what we tell our coaches is if you want your players to be together, have them go into our system and find each other. And then from there, when we house people, they'll be in a roommate group and be able to be in a room together.
Awesome, thank you. And we did have one more question. My son cannot find his Hornet Hub login info in order to get to the housing app. How does he get access to this info?
Easy. If that person just sends us an email to reslife, RESLIFE @su.edu, we'll get them squared away. Thank you for posting that. Any other questions, Nate, that I missed?
Yes, we did have another question come in. When will students find out if they received their first choice for their residence hall?
So all students will receive their housing assignment in July. And typically, I always tell students it's tough. You put down your first preference, but you want to put down your second preference as well, because we have a ton of students who are going after those same types of buildings. And so it's important that you list out, several of your preferences, because you may not get your first preference. But those assignments will go out in July, mid-July typically.
Thank you, Jay. Let me see, we do have a few more questions for you. The next question that we have is which dorms have community kitchens?
So yes, we do have community kitchens, but that's all in our from our upperclassmen buildings. So University Inn, Edwards, ECC, all those buildings have kitchens in them. Our freshman halls do not have kitchens in those halls.
And it looks like one of the last questions that we have is going to be whether or not setting up a roommate early impacts the decision.
No, it doesn't impact the decision, but you want to get in there and do it as quickly as possible.
Awesome, thank you. And our last question, which I believe you already answered, is just when do you send out residents confirmation of rooms?
In July, mid-July.
Thank you very much, Jay. That concludes all of the questions that we have for you.
Thank you, Nate. I would like to introduce to you all our Director of Public Safety. We work really closely with this team, Rick Fry.
Thank you, Dr. Santiago. It's good to be with you. I've been looking forward to today, and hopefully we can soon meet in person. But in the meantime, I want to talk to you briefly about campus security and your students' safety. At Shenandoah University, your son or daughter is about to receive a world-class education and experience people and events that create lifelong friends and a lifetime of wonderful memories. Before any of these things can transpire, one thing has to be present: a secure and safe environment. Making sure that exists is my job. Change the slide. All of the Shenandoah University campuses are located in safe, low to no crime areas. The main campus, I like to call our residential campus, is located in the city of Winchester, Virginia. Winchester is a peaceful and safe jurisdiction, somewhat geographically isolated from large urban locations, but it's still close enough that students can take advantage of the cultural and entertainment offerings in these areas. The university is perched in the northern Shenandoah Valley, an area rich in history, as the location of the university hosted continuous activity during the Civil War. The area also offers a vast opportunity for outdoor activities, from winter sports to rafting, hiking, and camping. And the main campus is less than an hour from the northern gateway to Skyline Drive National Park. Crime in our area is low, but not non-existent. So I invite all of you to review our annually prepared Clery report on the university website, or come by my office in the Wilkins Administration Building to view a hard copy. The Clery report is a federally mandated statistical overview of reportable crimes on and near our campuses. It is submitted every October, and it reviews the previous 3 years of reportable statistics. Additionally, the university has cultivated outstanding working relationships with all the local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies whose jurisdictions include university property. I meet with these folks on a regular basis. As a parent who has dropped his kids off at college, I know how you might feel leaving your son or daughter the first time in a possibly far away and unfamiliar place. I want to assure you all at this time that there are many people at Shenandoah University who work hard every day to make sure that our campuses are safe and secure places where your student can concentrate on their education without concern for their safety or without unnecessary distractions. A word about the Department of Public Safety, or DPS. DPS includes 18 full-time and 1 part-time uniformed employees. While unarmed, they are trained and certified by the Virginia Department of Criminal Justice Services. They are also certified in CPR first aid, automated external defibrillator, and mental health first aid. We are on duty 24 hours a day and deploy coverage and patrol techniques that includes vehicles, bicycles, and foot patrols. We also work from the point of view that our students are force multipliers and that we push the see something, say something doctrine. In the last year, DPS has overhauled the university's safety surveillance system, drastically increasing coverage by adding cameras, replacing servers to increase storage capacity and footage quality. Currently, the grounds of the university are being monitored for safety more than they have ever been in the past. DPS is also responsible to review and update the university's emergency operations plan, which you can also find on our website. The EOP provides university managers with response guidelines utilizing the nationally endorsed incident command systems. In fact, the university's pandemic response is being guided by this process as we speak. The department is active in training, and in addition to maintaining officer certifications, DPS maintains on-staff certified instructors who offer training to students in rape awareness and defensive tactics. And we will begin offering instruction later this year on active shooter response. The safety plan of the university also includes a comprehensive communication strategy that begins with the Live Safe application, or Live Safe app. Once downloaded onto their cell phone, the student can stay safe anywhere they go. With the Live Safe app, they'll be connected with Shenandoah's Department of Public Safety 24/7. They can send text messages, images, video, and audio messages to DPS and reach a DPS officer anytime, day or night. You can report suspicious dangerous activity, mental health concerns, illegal drug or alcohol use, noise disturbances, and other safety concerns, and they can do that anonymously if they choose. They can even have friends or parents monitor their whereabouts as they travel on foot or by car, deploying the app's GPS feature. Parents love this, believe me. After the student extends permissions on their device, parents can rest assured that they can actually monitor their students' movements after a party, sporting event, or late travel until they actually walk into their dorm room on campus. We also encourage students and parents to sign up for the E2 Campus Alert, where they receive text notifying you of weather events, campus closures, and other important events. Parents can do this on their own and don't need the permission to use that app from their student. Instructions on how to enable this feature on your phone can also be found on our website. If there are any difficulties acquiring either of these apps, either myself or any member of DPS can walk you through the process. DPS also manages the campus shuttle service during in-session periods. We operate one handicap accessible shuttle Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., stopping at 7 convenient locations throughout main campus. Probably the most significant function of DPS, other than your student safety, obviously, is parking management. We coordinate parking registrations, issuance of parking permits, parking enforcement, and parking appeals. As your student progresses from year to year, they will realize less restrictive parking requirements. As soon as a campus opening schedule is known, as the pandemic subsides, more information will be available to you about how, where, and when to obtain your campus parking permit. Your student will be able to register remotely on the SU website, and we strive to make this process as easy and streamlined as possible. One of the most important responsibilities of my job, and one that I take very seriously as Director of Public Safety, is participating as a core member of the university care team. From this vantage point, I see firsthand many of the problems and difficulties faced by individual students, and I'm able to participate firsthand in confidential and thoughtful discussions with a professional group focused on providing support and resources that will bring any distressed student back to a place where they can thrive. I assure you that we take the safety of your student very seriously. In fact, as a retired law enforcement officer myself, I take any threat to their safety personally. I ask one thing of you as parents, that before you drop your student off at school this fall, that you have a heartfelt and serious conversation with them about the importance of making mature and safe decisions and choices. There may be temptations during their college experience, and there may be those that would lead them in the wrong direction to situations that may contain pitfalls that could potentially be costly to them. And we want to avoid this as much as possible. Considering this, that they are largely responsible for their own safety. We will protect them whenever we can and give them all the tools we have and create all the conditions to make them safer. But they are ultimately responsible for their own safety, largely through the decisions and choices that they make. If you take only one thing away from what I say today, it should be that nothing is more important to me than the safety of the physical safety and the mental safety of your son or daughter. I don't pretend that this is something that I can do on my own. I depend on other competent and professional people on campus to collectively work with me on a daily basis. But I also depend that students arrive in the fall, or any time for that matter, with a fundamental understanding of responsibility and accountability. This I have to depend on you, the parents, to provide. I want you to know that I'm at your service and I'm always available to discuss any matter, anytime with you in person, via phone or email, and I mean 24/7. You can contact me at 540-545-7338 or at my email, rfrye2@su.edu. Nate, does anyone have any questions that I can answer? Or is there anything that I didn't cover that you would like me to discuss?
Yes, Rick, we do have a couple questions for you. The first is from Alistra Barefoot. Are there any armed officers on the Department of Public Safety that are on campus?
That's a good question. Currently, there are not any armed officers. We do have a very, very short response time for Winchester Police and Frederick County Sheriff's Office. In fact, that jurisdiction splits the campus. Half of it is in the Sheriff's Office jurisdiction and half is in the Winchester Police jurisdiction. We have a response time as short as 2 minutes. So in the event we need uniformed armed response, we get it very rapidly. But no, we are not an armed unit at this time.
Thank you very much. And then the next question that we have is going to be, what are the two apps? I see Live Safe app, but not a second one.
The E2 Campus Alert. If you can't find it on the website, email me at rfrye2@su.edu and I will send you the link.
Thank you, Rick. Another question, two that sort of go together is there a number for students to call to be escorted at night on campus? There are two questions actually on receiving a security escort at night.
Yeah, absolutely. The Live Safe app has on it the number for the campus security, which is 540-678-4444. That number, the Live Safe app or that direct number can get you a safe ride or a safe walk escort anywhere on campus by the Department of Public Safety, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Thank you. And that number is also on the back of every student ID, so they should always have that ID on them at all times also. And the last question that we have for you, Rick, is just, do bicycles need to be registered on campus?
No, they do not, but we encourage you that you do have a bicycle. We say we have a walking campus, but there's some hills and occasionally some classes are pretty far apart. But we do have, like I say, a very prompt and on-time shuttle service. But I see, since I've been here, an increase in bike traffic, which I think is a positive thing. You do not need to register them.
Thank you very much, Rick. That concludes all the questions that we have for you.
Thank you very much. I look forward to meeting all of you. Thank you.
Rick accidentally muted himself, but he was going to introduce Dr. Karen Booker to talk to you.
I'm sorry. I would like to introduce the next speaker to you, the Director of Student Financial Services, Dr. Karen Booker.
Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Karen Booker. I am the Director of Student Financial Services here at Shenandoah University. And I just want to spend a couple of minutes with you explaining what it is that we do in student financial services and how we can help you get acclimated into Shenandoah. So let me first just start by telling you that I totally get it. This has been a very stressful month and a half for me personally, as I mourn the loss of working with our current students and meeting all of our new students at the events we would normally host on campus, but also because at home, I have a college sophomore who attends Shenandoah University and who is actually an athlete who had his season cut very short, and they were doing quite well. And then my youngest daughter is in the college search as well. She's a high school senior. So we are, again, mourning the loss of things like prom and high school graduation and all of those things that we were planning to do to round out a very successful year for her. So I totally understand. I want you to know that my team understands, and at Shenandoah University, we get that as well. So we are here to help you. I want you to also know that if you have a question in the few minutes that we have left in this session, your financial aid counseling team, Stephanie, Ashley, and Mike, are on behind the scenes answering questions that you might have. So let me just tell you a little bit about what Student Financial Services is at Shenandoah. It's like a one-stop shop. We're going to help you with things like financial aid. We're going to help you in the business office, which we call Hornet Central. It's also where the student employment office is for students who are interested in taking us up on our offer of work study. And it's also where our student accounts office is. So let's talk a little bit about each of those briefly. And I will also tell you that last night we did an hour-long financial aid session that had a lot of good questions that we answered. So we know that you probably have questions about financial aid. We're here to help you in our by reaching out to us by email, but some of those questions might also be answered in our webinar that we did last night. So feel free to check out the recording of that. That is posted on our Admitted Freshman Day site. So again, Hornet Central is our one-stop shop. We're asking you to continually monitor the email that we have on file for you as a result of the admissions application. We want you to be checking that, because while we would normally be mailing out paper award packages for you to get in the mail and to open up at this point so that we can work very quickly and expedite those things for you, they are coming to you in your email. So continue to monitor your email. So if we're going to make a change to the financial aid package, if we need something, that's how we're going to communicate with you, is through the email that we have on file for you. Also, please continue to check out Student Financial Services. Check out the Hornet Hub that you have access to by logging in, because that is where all of those things are going to be listed as well. And that information is on our webpage. We love the fact that at Shenandoah, we offer every student the ability to work on campus. So that means that you have the opportunity to have a work study position. So we love that about Shenandoah. Last year, we employed about 1,200 students on campus. You will see that on your financial aid award letter. You are not able to accept that when we ask you to accept your financial aid package. Information about that will be coming from our student employment office in June. So please be on the lookout for that. That's going to tell you how to apply. That's going to tell you what jobs are open for you to apply for. So stay tuned for that. Also, our fall payment is going to be due August 5th. So we will be sending out statements to you electronically to the students. You can be looking forward to getting that in July. We like to wait until the students are registered for classes, till their housing assignments have been in. That way your statement is very accurate, and you will be getting that in the student's email in July. The other thing I'll tell you is that parents, we are sending that to the students, and if you have difficulty kind of knowing what's going on, because a lot of things are being sent to your students' email, you do have the ability to sign up for Parent Person Proxy in Hornet Central. So that's on our Hornet Central page in our on our website. So please feel free to do that. That way you'll have access to some of the same kind of things that our students are doing. If you're interested in learning more or having questions, if you have questions about that, we understand that this process can seem overwhelming and daunting, but we are here to help you. So this slide tells you all of the email addresses that are available to you in Student Financial Services. So if you have questions about financial aid, questions about work study, questions about how to set up a payment plan, questions about making any type of payment or 529 plan, you can email Hornet Central. So we are here to help you. Please know that while we are very proud of the response time whenever you do email us, because we are not answering the phones as much as we normally would be, we do get a lot of email daily, but we do make it our commitment to get answers to you as quickly as possible. And I'll just say again, if we ask you to provide us information in financial aid, please do so as quickly so that we can get that processed for you and finalize your financial aid package. We do look forward to working with you. I'm so excited that you're here joining us today. And if you have questions, please reach out. We'd love to help you. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Yolanda Gibson while my team continues to answer the questions that are coming up in the Q&A. Dr. Gibson?
Thank you. I want to first thank our panelists as well as all of our participants today for your questions and for engaging in such a lively discussion as we prepare to onboard your son or daughter or student. I hope that you can feel the sentiment of care and support and safety that we will provide to your student when they arrive here in the fall. I also want to open this opportunity. We have a few minutes left. If there's additional Q&A, we're certainly all here. The panelists can certainly answer your questions. And I also want to encourage you to participate in some of our additional breakout sessions that will happen at 11. So topics ranging from academic support services, which means our disability services and tutoring, to career services, studying abroad. Even though we're quarantined, we do have an awesome study abroad program. We also have breakout sessions for spiritual life, diversity, inclusion, and equity, and many, many more. And so after this session at 11, you will see various sessions that parents and students can certainly participate in. And so if you have additional questions, I will pause and let Nate kind of help us navigate that in the next few minutes here. So thank you again and welcome to Shenandoah.
Thank you, Yolanda. So it looks like we are getting some more questions in the Q&A. When do students register for fall classes is one that I can answer. Incoming freshmen actually don't register for their incoming fall classes. Academic advisors for all of our incoming freshmen are going to be the ones that are making those schedules. And then at summer orientation, the students typically have a conversation with their advisor as far as what classes they're going to be taking. And then sometimes the professors and the students will dive into what their plan is going to be like for the entire 4 years as well. So it just sort of depends on the students to sort of help foster that relationship as well. And the advisors are going to help, of course. But the students don't have to worry about making their first schedule. That's not a stress that we want to place on them while they have enough on their plate trying to transition, just becoming a college student. If students can't find a roommate through the roommate match, yes, students do get matched with someone as well. We won't just leave you hanging, I promise. Oh, you're very welcome. Do we have any other questions about anything? Like I mentioned, I was also a student here, so if you have any student experience questions, I'd be happy to answer those really quick as well. But I hope you guys have enjoyed everything. We've gotten you lots of useful information. And as it was mentioned at the beginning, this is being recorded, so you guys are going to be able to watch this again if you feel like you want to be able to hear any of the information again, or just be able to relive Admitted Freshman Day. Because like I said, it's one of my favorite days of the year. And even though we were online, I still really enjoy being able to interact with everyone. Let's see, we have some questions coming in now. Since we haven't been able to see the campus yet, I have a strange question. What is the driving terrain like around campus and the drive from Dulles? And you're coming from Florida, so you'd like to know what it's like driving around here. That's a very fair question. It's amazing. It's very beautiful. The entire trip, there's tons of scenery. You're going to enjoy it very much. It's a pretty smooth drive. Typically, there are some mountains that you're going to be able to see, but it gets a little bit, there's some hills once you get closer to the valley because we are in the Shenandoah Valley, but it's a very beautiful drive, and it's typically a very smooth drive as well. And you can definitely tell apart the four seasons as well. So if you're ever coming at different times of the year, you're going to be able to have a little bit of the scenery mixed up for you. So it's not going to be exactly the same. So it's definitely a nice drive. Let's see. How long for a return email from the department do you have a list of recommended items for dorm rooms? I know that we have a list of recommended items for dorm rooms on our website, and that can be shared with you. But I'm not sure about your question about the return email from the department. I'm sorry, Julie.
Nate, I'm going to answer a question on here.
Okay.
So Jen is asking, do you think there will be a summer orientation? Yes, we will have a summer orientation. We will make sure to have that happen no matter what. Now, whether that happens in person or online, we will make sure that your student has an orientation, that we make sure they get all of the information that they need. Right now, at this very moment, we are planning on having it in person, but like I said before, we know that that can change, but we will make sure that we get all of that information necessary to everybody. So yes, there will be an orientation some way, either online or in person.
And Amy Burnett, yes, we do have shuttles to airports for the major breaks, but it's just for the major breaks. So at the end of the semester, at the end of the semesters, really. Let's see. I don't believe
I'm gonna ask Jay to pop on here. There's a lot of Res Life questions. Jay, do you mind popping on and answering some of these Res Life questions that are on here?
Yes.
I'm here. How's it going? I don't see any questions here.
So one of the questions is, can someone talk about meal plans, food available on campus, what spending accounts can be used and where? So just a little bit about meal plans that are included for students.
Sure. So I can speak on the meal plans in regards to residence life. The flexible spending options, I cannot speak to that. I'll leave that to financial services. So meal plan students, incoming students have the ability to choose between 15 and 19 meals on campus. And with those plans, they do get a flexible spending option, but I'll leave that for the financial services to say where because I'm not sure of that answer, but students do have the opportunity to choose meals 15 or 19 for incoming students.
Thanks, Jay. And then also, can you just talk a little bit about the roommate process and filling out the form and why that's important?
Yeah, it's really important that your student fills out the application, specifically the portion where they are filling out how they live and how do they study and how do they like to live in their space. That's very, very important, because when you are selecting a roommate, our system has the ability to match your roommate at a percentage basis. So for example, you know, if I am a morning person and my roommate is a night owl, there might be some conflict there. And our system, based off of how you answer those questions, there's a percentage that comes out. So there might be me and Johnny Blue who match at a 90% rate, but me and Jimmy match at a 75% rate. So you always want to pick the higher percentage, and that percentage you get based off of those questions that were answered.
Thanks, Jay. And then also, do students receive a confirmation once they fill out that housing form online? Not their answer as to who they're going to be rooming with, but do they receive an email confirmation saying that the form has been received?
Yes, they should receive that. If they don't, they can just reach out to our office and we can get that to them. I see a question here. What does meal plan 15 or 19 mean? So 15 means you get 15 meals for the week. So 15 meals out of the 7-day week, and then 19 meals out of the 7-day week. So your student can go swipe their meals 15 times out of the week, or 19.
Great. And we do have meal plans available for commuter students as well. On the website, we have that available. So the commuter student meal plans, I don't know off the top of my head, but they're a little bit less than the 15. I think it might be 10 meals per week, so that they can utilize the dining services. So there is commuter meal plan options available as well that are a little bit less than the amount of meals that they get per week. Ford has a question about orientation, if they will be able to see the freshman dorms and plan what to bring. In a typical summer, we do show a room in Racy Hall, which is one of our freshman halls. And we usually have that room decorated with some suggestions about things to bring with you for your residence halls. But typically we cannot show all of the residence halls, mainly because we have summer camps going on and other people who are living on campus, and we cannot go into those spaces while people are living in the spaces. And then we also do a lot of renovations and cleanings and updates to our residence hall over the summer. So we do try to at least show 1, maybe 2 rooms in residence halls during summer orientation. Michelle has a question about if there's options for vegetarians in campus meals. Yes, our dining service are actually amazing when it comes to accommodating students who need special dietary accommodations. Our president, Dr. Tracy Fitzsimmons, is actually a vegetarian as well. And so they have this whole amazing vegetarian and vegan stations set up in our dining hall. I'm not vegetarian, but I actually love to eat from the vegetarian station. It's really good. But if any students do have any dietary restrictions, yes, our dining services are very accommodating to those.
Let's see. We do not have risers for beds, Debbie, but students are able to bring risers for beds. They just can't have the outlets in them.
So Tara has a question about certain political issues happening on college campuses and how do we protect our students. We have an Office of Diversity and Inclusion that works really closely with our campus community in creating a very close, diverse and caring campus. We honestly do not have many issues on campus. We're just a very welcoming and warm environment for all of our students. But if there ever is any kind of issue that has risen, it is addressed immediately. And we do whatever measures we possibly do to make sure that everybody is comfortable in the environment and that the problems are taken care of. The question about UVC lights, Hanan, I don't know if you have an answer for that, or Sue. That one I am not as familiar with, but we'll try to get you an answer for that. But that might be something to take in consideration if they have not already. See, I think we have all of our questions answered. Is there any other questions before we move on to the next session? Well, thank you all again for coming today. It was so nice to be able to chat with you. We really hope that we can meet in person soon and really get to know all of you. Yes, it will be available for playback. One more question. Can students have a car on campus? Yes, all students can have cars on campus. They do have to pay for a parking fee, but we do allow freshmen to have cars on campus, yes. Okay, great. Well, thank you all again. We appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. Of course, you can reach out to any of us along the way if you have questions or you need help with anything. We are here to help you all. And we look forward to hopefully having your sons and daughters at Shenandoah in the fall and hopefully getting back to some kind of normal life. So next we have our sessions. If you go to our Admitted Freshman Day page, you can log into our sessions, as Dr. Gibson said earlier, to learn about some more of our resources that we have. So thank you all again for coming, and I hope you have a wonderful day.